education. In the higher education institutions where we come across different type of the stakeholders, sometimes they are called as the internal stakeholders, there are external stakeholders. The internal stakeholders are the one who are the students and the support staff and also the management who runs the institution. The external stakeholders are the one, maybe the government, maybe the parents or the guardians or an alumni or an employer. If you look into this 7 type of the stakeholders, you will be wondering how exactly they will interlock with each other. While looking into this 7 stakeholders, it is like a 7 colors or the Saptaswaras or the 7 days of a week. 7 plays a vital role for the our day to day life. The stakeholders are the one who are the firms of the customers or the fair trading practices, but they are not entitled to do the same consideration as the firms of the employees. Employer is a stakeholder in an institution, but they does not have a direct stay in the institution, still they are appointing the students for the jobs. For example, if we are looking for a job in the service sector, it may be FMCG or a marketing or it is a production or anything may be there, but the students who are will be prepared for that type of the job, but the employers directly does not have a say in the institution, but for the board of studies and for the placement they will be taking our students for the benefit of the students. As an employer, the stakeholders may be government or a service sector or a production company or a marketing or an agriculture or maybe the educational institution itself, because at a later stage they will be becoming the teachers in the institution of our country. A stakeholder is a person that has an interest in the activities of an institution or an organization. Suppose for example, we say the stakeholder as an alumni. Alumni is the student who comes of an institution which goes out of our higher education sector after completing the 3 years or the 2 years of the study. When he becomes an alumni, he may be there in a service sector or in a production or in a government sector. He will have some interest in the institution, giving back as a board of study to change the syllabus of the higher education institution, wherein institution is also looking that what type of the changes are happening in the service sector or the production, so that those changes will be brought into the curriculum of the higher education institution in the college or universities, to make sure that the present students will study some of the syllabus as a part of the syllabus, so that they will be able to understand the sector in a better manner. In this context, higher education quality as a stakeholders are those groups who have inter alia has an interest in the quality of the provisions or the standard of the outcomes, which will have a direct say in the institutions on the curriculum revision, but indirectly they will be helping the institution to make their syllabus and the curriculum as the higher order level, so that once this present student comes out from our higher education institutions, will be able to take a proper job in the higher education institutions or in the service sector or maybe in the government or any other sector. These stakeholders are also include the government, employers, students, academic and administrative staff of the institution or institutional managers or the deans or maybe the professors and the principals of the colleges, and the prospective students and their parents, and the also the lastly it is a taxpayer. Some of the internal stakeholders, if you look into the things, for example, as a faculty are one of the major stakeholders in the institution. Faculty makes the institution's students to learn better as a knowledgeable person and a skill oriented. Knowledge component is more important in the higher education institutions for a syllabus, because the learning outcomes of a student has been matched to the service sector or the production sector or the government sector, if he becomes the good person. Suppose for example, if you look into the as a teacher, if we prepare the student as a good student, at the end of his career he may become an IAS officer or the state level eligibility test, or maybe the NEET, or maybe the what to call JEE examination. These are all the knowledge components which he will be acquired through his at the end of the study. Skill is also more important. The skill is the one where the computer knowledge is one thing, communication knowledge skill is another thing, and the language skill and how to write a better English, or how to whether do you know the language like Japanese. If you look into the many industries, our student does not stick to only the India, they will be going out of our country. Whether the institutions are teaching some of the languages also, if the student goes out of from our country. For example, just to share with you one of the idea, when you look into the institutions, small college in a Kerala which does like this, the institution runs a certificate course in Arabic language, where the students will be going or employed elsewhere in the Middle East countries. This small skill component will help the student to get a better job opportunities in certain sectors at a later stage. Skill is more important in the day to day life. This skill also will come with the hard work as well as the experience. The teachers need to make sure that the student will learn some of the good practices of the institutional thing, where quality culture will be inbuilt in the institution. To share some of the knowledge with the students, suppose for example, if you are teaching a knowledge component in the economics, microeconomics is also more important. If you are teaching the psychology, clinical psychology is also more important. So, the teachers need to take the pedagogy, along with the pedagogy you need to take some of the skill based program also, maybe a 2 unit or a 2 credit course at the end of the program. So, that a small course inbuilt mechanism in the institutional curriculum will make the student to learn some of the skills at their graduation level or the post graduation level. The teachers also need to look into the most of the challenges which are coming through the years. The challenges are there, how to attract the student for the classroom is a major challenge for a teacher, and as the institution grows and the world wide web is available for the student can look into the matter anywhere in the what to call in the internet. But what you teach in the classroom is more important than what they could not get in the internet. So, if you look into that as the part of the skill development, every teacher need to look into the various pedagogical innovations in the higher education sector. Ultimately, the student also need to be a student till his life, so that he will learn some of the things in the during the course of the study. Another stakeholder in the higher education institution is the principal or a head of the institution, or he may be the vice chancellor, or he may be the director in a management school. In the higher education institution, the major role of the principal or the head of the institution for a governance is to conceptualize the function of the quality education. Quality education develops through the vision and the mission statement of the institution, and it percolates into the different things. For example, if an institution is having a vision statement to become the global leaders, then how you will become the global leader? Through its vision statement. The vision statements will have certain things about the how the institution should function in the curriculum, in the teaching, in the research, in the governance, in the infrastructure facilities, in the student support progression, and also in the internal quality assurance mechanism. To do that one, the principal or the vice chancellor has to provide a good leadership facilities in the institution. He has to take the both the bottom level approach and the top level approach. Bottom level approach in the sense the peon and then the persons who are lab attendant is also more important, and the management as a governors, the governor or the management or the president is also more important. Both you have to take in one place and take the all the feedback from the different stakeholders and put it into the action through the vision statement. Once they has been done, and as a stakeholder, as an institution governance, you will be able to make some changes in the higher education institution. While looking into such areas, you also need to take the feedback from the student on the curriculum, you also need to take a feedback from the alumni also, and you also take the feedback from the stakeholders like the employers also. Once you take the feedback, you put it all the things into the some of the action point and jot it down under the what to call 1 to 10, and implement out of the 10 at least 3 or 4 or 5. I think that is the best way of making the implementation at the institutional level. The stakeholder as a principal or the head of the institution, you need to look into the good communication techniques. Whatever you would like to say in the communication, it has to be told in a simple and the understandable language in the community. Your word has to be weighed very well, and you have to talk less and you have to function more. That is how your approach should be there, and you also should have some innovative approach. Innovative approach in the sense how to handle the faculty, how to handle the student, and how to handle the non teaching staff is an activity which you have to imbibe through the years. In one of the interactions for the higher education institution where we went, the students were telling, sir, we do not need much of the things from the vice chancellor, but the vice chancellor has to meet us at least once in a month in a bigger hall and let him ask us what you need. If out of the 100 suggestions, if he implements 10 suggestions, I think the institution will improve. The word which I would like to share with you is that one is the communication. When you understand the student in their own language, you will be able to approach in such a manner that you will be able to imbibe how exactly the institution has to perform in their own approach. And in one of the colleges in the Goa, they were telling maintenance is by the students. That means the all the maintenance including the cleaning and the tap repair and the toilet maintenance, everything will be done by the students, wherein the stakeholders as a student, their approach are different, in the sense they will be able to help the institution to make sure that nothing goes wrong in the institution. That means their approach is that it is our institution and it is our family, and how you look into the improvements in the institution. Strict and enforcing the discipline in the faculty, staff as well as the student. Discipline is much more important. The time, if you say that 9 o'clock the class starts, that means 9 o'clock it should start, 9:45 it ends, means it should end at the 9:45. If you make the discipline as a time factor, for example, it will help you to learn so many things. In one of the interactions of the great person has told in an interview that, sir, what is your secret of the life? He told that, I respect the time which has been given by the different people. If I tell that I will be there at 9 o'clock, I will be there at before 9, I will be there in that program. So, discipline becomes the much more thing for the principal or the management and the staff, and you, unless you possess that one, you will not expect from the others. The principal or the vice chancellor should possess first, then only they will be able to ask the other persons to follow that one. Head of the institutions need to apply a continuous positive and creative role to achieve the following objectives. Objectives are like this: suppose my institution has to submit the at least 3 major projects for the DST, DBT or a UGC. How you will be able to do? You have to continuously monitor the student, monitor the faculty and make sure that they will submit within the period. Another thing is that suppose if you would like to have, you have a 153 faculty in a university and your total number of papers are written by the faculty is, for example, 393. If you want to increase into the 890, how you will be able to do? You have to do a continuous positive creative role, or it may be supporting role to the faculty, so that you will be able to achieve that target by doing the hand holding of the teachers. Another thing which I would like to share with you, that the government of India has coming with the lot of innovative ideas and for the innovations. The head of the institution should look into the various innovative ways of the Ministry of Human Resource Development, like the hackathon or maybe the Atal Tinkering or maybe the innovation center or an incubation center, or these things need to be looked into by the head of the institution, so that the teachers will take active participation in the overall development of our countries. Finally, just to share with you that leader has to lead the things. You have to be there in the front and you have to make sure that you will be the person who has to give the model to the others. In one of the Sanskrit shloka says that Udyamah sahasam dhairyam buddhim shaktim parakramam shad ete yatraha vartante tatta devataha saha karyate. That means hard work, risk taking, patience, intellect and the strength. These are the 6 human qualities are there. If you are having such things in the individual, even God extends you the help.